let us all do we can to build a better future. All right, now, Daniel, you got a story for the people. What is going on?
Okay, so I found a story from Texas, and they're just doing their usual stupid things. Of course, Texas is very... again, when I speak on this, just want to make sure I clarify. And again, in any other case where it's not explicitly said, it's always this. Always talking about the representatives. Always talking about the people in charge, not the people. Know a lot of people in Texas. Good place. Except for, of course, the stuff we're going to be talking about. And we've known in the past, we've talked about in the past, that anytime you try and do anything to affect voting by instituting, hey, you have to have this kind of ID, or like as we've seen before, it's like, hey, if you have a hunting license, that's a perfect way to vote. But if you have food stamps, that's not acceptable, even though one's government institute. Anyway, as you guys know, a lot of people from blue states or purple states that are bluish tint have been moving to other purple states with a reddish tint, mainly Texas. And there's a lot more people that aren't going to be voting for the people that are in charge in Texas. So what is Texas doing? Well, they're passing new voting bill to keep people from voting, because why be a representative if you can't choose your own voters? Anyway, Texas Republicans have introduced another set of sweeping bills that voting rights activists say could make it harder to vote in a state that already has some of the most restrictive election laws in history. By the way, that just means that they know that if they were on an even playing field, they would lose. There's no other reason to do it. No position of strength gets you this result. This is a position of weakness. And, by the way, not freedom. The bills, House Bill 3 and Senate Bill 1, were filed during the special legislative session called by Greg Abbott. By the way, remember, this is the bill that he's like, we're going to do anything. It's going to be this bill that stops people from voting. We covered that story a couple weeks ago, which started Thursday. Republican leaders vowed to take another pass at approving the voting legislation after Texas Democrats blocked a previous effort in May to pass more voting restrictions. The two bills, however, do not include some of the more controversial measures that were added to the previous bill in the final hours of legislation session in May. They don't now. If you were writing this article the same distance away from that vote, you'd be saying the exact same thing. So I'm not sure what the point of this sentence is. Those included a provision that would have restricted voting on Sundays, which is specifically targeting church groups that would bus together, which is quite ironic, as well as a measure that would have allowed elections officials to overturn election results if there are voter fraud allegations. So that's basically, hey, I'm in charge. I don't like the vote. It doesn't matter anymore. Democracy. The bill are part of a nationwide effort by state-level Republicans to enact more restrictive voting laws following the former President Donald Trump's loss in 2020 election. Trump and his allies have falsely claimed that the election was stolen. 28 restrictive voting laws in 17 states. By the way, this is exactly what we saw in Jim Crow. No difference. No different mindset. Same people, same thing. Actually, a lot of them same people. Have been enacted since January, according to the nonprofit Brennan Center for Justice. The latest bills in Texas include a new identification requirement for people voting by mail and prohibit local election officials from sending vote-by-mail application to someone who hasn't requested one. They just don't want a democracy. They want as much as they can to control and make an oligarchy. Well, we're not too far from it. By the way, Joe Biden, this seems like a pretty big affront to the democracy that you say you're fighting. Where be you?
Well, Daniel, he probably doesn't even know where he's at right now. You know, here's a sad fact. You know, we hear from corporate media and from our politicians, you grew up with this, everyone grew up with this horrible propaganda that somehow we have the greatest democracy in the world ever and that it's a bastion of liberty and freedom. We haven't updated our laws in decades, maybe in a century or so as well. And the sad fact is that our right to vote has always been taken away from us. Do we have a democracy? No, we live in an oligarchy. This is the kind of country we have, and yet we're trying to force this same system on other countries as well. Why is it that other countries have real voting rights for their citizens, other democracies? Why is it that other countries are able to provide single-payer health care, a UBI, and any other kind of social safety net? But here in the United States, we get spoon-fed this neoliberal propaganda by both Democratic and Republican lawmakers, and here we are seeing Republican lawmakers wanting to do this. But it's just more than just Republican lawmakers in Texas. We see this happen with Democratic lawmakers and other Republican lawmakers across the country through gerrymandering, through election fraud, not voter fraud. I'm talking about election fraud.
Voter fraud doesn't really exist.
Yeah, I mean,
it's about as real as Foch.
okay, here's the thing about voter fraud. I can't think of anyone in their own right mind that's going to say, like, oh, I'm going to vote twice. I'm going to wait in line and vote twice.
It's ironically Republicans, statistically, I'm not saying anything about anything. I'm just saying statistically, it's Republicans that do it.
But even then, I can't think of any normal Republican voter that's
Most
going to do that.
Americans don't care about their government enough to vote twice.
Yeah, no one's. You got to be a special kind of idiot to wait in line twice, 3 times a vote, whatever. Anyways, point being, we have a broken system, and it's a nightmare. And the idea that anyone says that we truly do have a voice is more than proof to me why we have to do a general strike, why we have to march for Medicare for all, why we have to fight for UBI and a Federal Jobs Guarantee Act, and actually stand up against climate change. Because if we don't, these lawmakers will drive us to extinction, and they're earning a profit while doing it. Tell me, regular voters, Americans, do you really think your politicians care about you? Because they don't. They don't give a crap about you. They don't like you. They pretend to like you. And since they pretend to like us, we don't owe them anything. Hashtag general strike, folks. I think the debate is over. The conversation is over.